What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. And make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And follow that Twitter right down here. 133 subs. What can I say? All right. I know you guys don't want to hear me talk that way. I don't know why, but like every time I start talking and doing the introduction, my brain automatically just tells me to stop talking. My brain's like, dude, your viewers don't want to hear this. All right, just get to the video already. Got my notes for the vid. Eddie Murphy. That's right. We're starting the video off big. Eddie Murphy, SNL, broke the internet. Everybody knows that. Multiple skits, dude. The guy's insane. He did Gumby. He did A Christmas Dinner. He did one about gentrification, which was insane. I loved that one because it was so like informative and it was done in an Eddie Murphy style where it's so captivating. The guy's personality and attitude just sucks you into a video. It really does. So let's talk about it. All right, stop. Seriously. Eddie Murphy came back to SNL and he did a bunch of skits, yada, yada, yada. Lizzo performed, but he made a joke about Cosby. You know, the biggest thing that I find funny is when a comedian makes a joke about another comedian and that comedian gets mad. It's like you should know comedy pushes boundaries if you are a comedian yourself. So that it shocks me whenever I see a comedian get angry at another comedian and make fun of them. Cosby got angry because Eddie Murphy said, "Oh my God, who would have thought in the 80s that I would be the family man and Cosby would be the one in jail?" Because it looked like I was going to go to jail and Cosby played an amazing family man on The Cosby Show. But who would have thought the tables turned 30, 40 years later? That's the joke. And honestly, it's not even a joke. A lot of people laughed, but it's true. I mean, Cosby's in jail. Eddie Murphy's a family man. I mean, there's truth behind every single joke. And Cosby just went crazy, called him a Hollywood slave. And even though Eddie Murphy hasn't even been in Hollywood for like 15 years, first off, Eddie Murphy was not given the opportunity a lot of comedians were given because Eddie Murphy always had to work on the downside of things. First of all, he came in at a time where it really wasn't that famous to be that vulgar. Comedians were usually kind of like house comedians. You had to have a really nice persona to yourself, hence why Bill Cosby was one of the best comedians because it was kind of a nice little persona back then. Then Eddie Murphy came in ruthlessly and he started with the whole, agitation, aggravation, anger, self-degradation kind of comedy. And he was harsh. He was rough around the edges. Eddie Murphy was a harsh comic. And then he went on to do SNL when SNL was dying, and he completely revived SNL for what it is today. The employers that are employed at SNL are still making a bunch of money because Eddie Murphy is the thing that revived this entire station. The entire show is still alive today because of him. So Eddie Murphy was when he was becoming famous, he was always on the downside of things. He always had it way harder than others. Now, if you go to SNL, you're like automatically famous. But when Eddie Murphy was going to SNL, it was like, okay, get ready for your career to plummet. But it didn't. So yeah, Cosby just needs to laugh, dude. I mean, why are you in jail and calling people Hollywood slave? You're like 90, dude. You're like 90. At this point, if I heard any joke made about me, I'd just be like, I don't know, whatever. I wouldn't even care at this point. I'm like almost dying and I'm in jail too. If you were sitting on your sofa, I'd be like, all right, yeah, maybe he has a right to get angry. He's hurting his legacy. But Cosby's legacy's already broken. That's right, I sang it. You know whose legacy isn't broken, though? Mr. Beast. You like that transition? I got to work on my transitions. Anybody who has like an idea for transitioning into different topics, just make sure to tell me because I don't know how. That's right. That's my family speaking upstairs. Mr. Beast is killing it on YouTube. Absolutely killing it. I remember watching this guy like 3 years ago, and he had this thing as like counting to 100,000, and he just sat there on his desk chair just counting to 100,000, and then he was listening to Everyday Bro for like 24 hours. He had the most absurd videos ever on YouTube. The more absurd it gets, the more you think maybe this guy is going to up it a little bit, Who knows? Let's see where he goes from here. And he manages to kill it every single time. He manages to kill it every time, dude. I can't believe it. when he came out with like the whole counting to 100,000, how do you surpass that, right? How do you go beyond that? But guess what? He's giving away millions of dollars. He's doing free car dealerships, just throwing cash like it's nothing. And he got a lot of criticism because, he's trying to get rid of his taxes. That's what he said on the H3 podcast. And it's like, dude, who cares? The guy has a bunch of money, and if he's cheating the system a little bit, then so be it. I mean, he's not doing it illegally anyway. And also, he's giving people money. He's making money. Taxes are getting easier. Doing it legally, and he's giving people money. God, man. And he's so original on this platform that people are copying him. Morgs, for example. He's so original. Who does what Mr. Beast does? Who even thought of doing what Mr. Beast did starting out? Simple things that anybody could have done. Like, a guy could have easily just came back from work and been like, I'm going to count to 100,000. Ready? 1, 2, 3. But nobody did it, and he's the first one who did it. I could have easily done that. I could do it right now, counting to 1 million, and then just sit here and count to 1 million. It's like anybody could do that, but at this point, Mr. Beast covered all of that to the point where you're just going to be named the Mr. Beast copycat. Dude, props to this guy, man. He's on the trending page like every day, man. But sometimes it does get a little absurd. Sometimes when he's like, I don't even know that some of his video ideas is like, it's like, Jesus Christ, man, Can you tone it down a little bit? Whoever stays in this negative 57 degree ice bath wins. Just go so extreme to the point. Watch his videos in like 5 years, be like, whoever skydives and doesn't die wins with no parachute. Off a jet. Yeah, and he looks so average too. That's the crazy part about the whole thing, is that he looks so average you would never even think that he is a guy with this many subscribers and this much money and giving away this much money either. I mean, he looks like he's 18, I mean, I look like I'm 18 and I'm 23, but still. And maybe that's something that we have in common, Mr. Beast. But the thing is about Mr. Beast too is that the lack of fashion is what really makes me respect his humbleness, is that the guy doesn't have any fashion sense, and he's sitting here becoming a multimillionaire. I don't know if that's a backhanded compliment. Sorry, Mr. Beast, I love you. The fashion industry is getting a little weird though, Yeah, let's talk about the fashion industry. Dude, what are people wearing? People are wearing absurd things today. There's people that are wearing I remember when I was in college, good old days, 3 months ago. I remember when I was in college, there was especially the Asians. The foreign exchange student from China looked like they were wearing $4 billion. Just walking to the library, they looked like $4 billion actors or some shit like that. Oh, or something like that. Remember, we don't curse, guys. We're a family-friendly channel here. Yeah, but they would look like $1 million. And the fashion industry, the thing about the fashion industry is that you can't get away with normal things now. If you have a nice body and you're at an average weight of 170 pounds or something, and you wear a t-shirt with jeans and some boots, yeah, you could pull off a pretty solid look, dude. But now it's everything has to be hyped up. It's the things you used to see on the runway. They were on the runway. That's all you saw them. You only saw them on the runway, but now you see them in real life too. You'll see somebody at work looking like Billie Eilish, and you're like, what are you doing? You're at work. This isn't a runway. I feel like the way that people dress, if you only could dress like that if you're famous. So come back to me when I have 1 million subscribers on this show. And you will see me wearing the most absurd outfits ever, because the more famous I get, the more absurd my outfits get. But yeah, I feel like the way some of these people dress, it's the only way you can get away with this is if you're famous. And if you're not famous, you would just look like the weirdest guy in a pizza shop. Because if you're not famous, you live a pretty boring life, right? You're just eating pizza, You just go down to the city and eat some pizza, and you're dressed like a weirdo. But if you're famous, everyone's like, oh my God, look at that famous person eating pizza. And then they're like, wait, what is that famous person wearing? But anyway, that's all we have for today, folks. I love this show. Honestly, it's growing on me so much. I really, really do love it. And I'm never going to stop ever until I, pretty much pass away. But, this show is just never going to stop, and I can't wait for me to grow more and succeed more with it. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.